Welcome to the Wednesday edition of the Sports Cage. If you're watching the stream at YouTube, you see Colson, you see Curtis, and where I usually sit, there was a piece of insulation. I am not at the corner of 12th and Rose in downtown Regina, but I'm with you. I'm from our Saskatoon studio up here in the Bridge City. If we were allowed to play music, we could have kicked it off with a little Northern Pikes. She ain't pretty. She just looks that way. Oh, it is for Regina Motor Products. It's good to be back. It's been a wild 48 hours. We have on the program today, Jeremy O'Day, Saskatchewan Roughriders, talking about free agency. We get some clips from J.O. Luke Mullinder is going to come on the program, talk about free agency, what he likes so far, what he thinks. Sprinkle of the day is coming up. Eric Francis is in Cabo San Lucas, so filling in for Eric Francis. And the NHL Insider Report is his boy from Calgary, Brent Krahn. That's right, former Calgary Hitmen, first-round draft pick, cup of coffee with Calgary and Dallas in the NHL. Krahner's an absolute beauty. He'll be with us in hour two. Clutch performer, more from Jeremy O'Day. Crofty's doing his hit. In hour number three, senior hockey report. It is so busy senior hockey-wise across Saskatchewan. The Monday Nooner guys are going to have a report for us on what's happening, provincials and league play. And then we're going to talk about a junior hockey team from Saskatchewan that I thought last night did an exceptional job of marketing and the hook to get people into the stadium. Pretty impressive. So we'll talk about that. The Regina Pats are up here in Saskatoon tonight. Wish I had time to go check that out, but we will talk more WHL Olympics. Canada still sitting with 3 medallions, no gold. Currently, curling, where I talked to a curling expert today that said, oh, hammer Canada -2.5. Well, I'm glad I didn't, because Canada is in a battle with Germany, tied 6-6. Speaking of maybe unforeseen battles as well, because I know a lot of you are working or driving and you can't pay attention. Sweden was a 5-point favorite when I looked at the line this morning against Italy in men's ice hockey. The score, with 18 minutes left in the second period, mind you, is 2-2. Italy has 4 shots on net. So the Swedish goaltender has let in 2. I don't know who's starting, but I'm watching the game right now. We'll keep you updated there. One Saskatchewan athlete was in action today in moguls and almost close to a medal. Shout out to Maya Schwinghammer, women's moguls. She finished 5th today. So, like I said, we'll keep you updated on the Olympic front. Jeremy O'Day today, talking to the media. It's free agency. And I know a lot of you don't like it, the tampering window, and then what went on, and do we even need that? I think Luke's going to want to dive into that in about 5 minutes' time. But Jeremy O'Day gives us his thoughts as a whole on free agency so far in the CFL.
It was good. It was obviously a lot of moving pieces. I think, free agency was pretty unique for us this year where, pretty much every position that you looked across the board, our free agents were top targets. And so it was a challenge with managing, who do we get back and who we'd be able to offer. And so we had to have a game plan going in, and then, don't really know how it's going to go until you start talking, with the players' representatives. And but felt good. Obviously started real early. Free agency just wasn't this last week for us. It started, right after the season with signing some of our key guys back. And obviously we attacked it. We had a large number, and I think a lot's been talked about how many free agents we have, but we had quite a few guys on the roster at the end of the year due to injuries and whatnot. So I think we had an abnormal number of free agents just because we had a lot of guys on the roster at the end of the year. But as I said before, happy where we're at. We got a couple more guys done since the last time we spoke, and but we're once you look at the roster and what we have on the roster, we feel pretty good where we're at.
What do you think out there? 936-6262. That is the Prairie Land Rentals text line. Prairie Land Rentals, 600 Albert Street, where you get to deal with the owner, whatever you need to rent. Prairie Land Rentals. What's your take on free agency so far? I think Jeremy O'Day's media availability 2 weeks ago, I said it, he kind of softened the blow. He let us know that there were going to be guys that they wouldn't be able to sign. We talked about it. I think that was very evident. And that's what happened. He said, our free agents are top guys now. Like, look, AJ Allen, highest paid linebacker. Jake Mayer, highest paid backup quarterback. I didn't even know that was a thing. Malik Carney, is he getting a bag of money in Edmonton? Again, we'll talk to Luke Mullinder about all that in a bit. Our guys were good. And we weren't going to run it all back. I know we wanted to say that, and that's what we wanted to think in the back of our heads, that was going to happen. But, yeah, where Tommy Neal's gone, CJ Rivas, Joe Robustelli, Mario Alford. Hard, tough stuff. Jeremy O'Day was asked how close he is to where he wants to be with the roster.
You have a salary cap to use, and you're not saving salary cap money for down the road or anything like that. So at this time of the year, your roster is kind of where it's at. Obviously, we'll continue to look and see if there's guys that still fit in, and if there's areas that we can add to. But most of the heavy lifting's done, and now we're really focusing on signing guys off our negotiation list, and then we're already flipped into the draft. Obviously, we're starting to work on draft prep and evaluations for the draft, and so we feel good where we're at, and we knew it was going to be a challenge, but we're excited where we ended up.
There you go. I think a lot of you text line. Rob's already texted in, loving some of the signings, especially James Vaughters. O'Day did talk about signing JV.
We've tried to sign Vaughters a couple of years back. I think when he was coming back from the NFL, so we had discussions with him in the past. But look, that's an area where we lost some guys in the defensive end position. So when we looked at the room, we wanted to add some veteran experience and someone that's played a number of years in our league and has experience working with Corey, knows our defense, and brings a little bit of that veteran leadership into that. So him and Mike Rose will assume that, and we got some young guys that are growing into more of veteran type guys and leaders in the defensive line room. So just saw the value there, and obviously had discussions with his agent, and then worked out.
There you go. Serge also texting in, says he loves that signing. Curious on this one, his thoughts on the linebackers without AJ Allen and CJ Rivas.
Yeah, we're excited about the linebackers. I know everyone's probably worried about it, but Anton Brooks has earned his opportunity to be a starter in this league. Every time he's got an opportunity, he's done great things. He makes plays every day at practice, and he's going to get his shot to play Sam. And then we've done a decent job with our ratio, so we have some flexibility with AJ moving on. We can actually continue to use that as a Canadian spot, or we can go American. So Aubrey Miller got an opportunity to play a little bit last year and did well. So we're happy to get him back. And then we signed Josh Woods, who has a lot of experience and has a lot of length. And we're excited about those three going into camp.
Yeah, we got to be excited. I think we're okay. It's just change is hard for all of us. For some of us, change is extremely hard. Shane down in Assiniboia, he asks the question, how is Edmonton going to stay under the cap? I asked that question, Shane, about Ottawa a little bit. But yeah, Edmonton too, shelling out money, but it's the juggling act, right? It's budgeting. It's getting kinky with marketing money, signing bonuses. There's ways around it. There are ways to do it. And it's It's like your buddy that lived in a, duplex back in the day where you were putting down a mortgage on a house. Maybe you were doing that, but he went and, locked into a big screen TV for 15 years. And he also bought a hot tub in the back where you were prioritizing maybe a mortgage and looking at the future. And he was going for the shiny things as a young guy. Maybe that's what Edmonton's doing. Maybe they're going to Visions, locking in payments on a TV for 30 years or something, where other teams are being a little more strategic with how they spend their money. We see it in every sport. We see it in the NFL. We see it in the NHL, Major League Baseball. Major League Baseball, there's no cap, so maybe it's a bad example, where it's, if you've ever played Stratomatic or a video game even, you got to work within a budget. And teams are going to do that, and some of them may be real top heavy at certain positions and then paying bare minimum at others. Maybe, I don't know, maybe they'll have fans come out and play, win a chance to suit up with the Elks. I don't know. And then is there anything wrong with going over if you win? We've talked about that on this show a long time. Maz used to talk about it too. It was blue in the face. I agree. If you're winning, go over the cap. Who cares? Pay the fine. Lose a draft pick. I know some of you don't want to lose a draft pick, but is signing a free agent better than a draft pick sometimes? Yeah. James in Regina, we gave 3 key receivers a truckload of money. Let's just hope they all stay healthy. Josh Woods is a great signing. He was all over the field in the Western Final. James, how about of the 3 cats they signed yesterday with Freddie Swain, Juwan Winfrey, and Penny Boone? 3 receivers, lots of experience, NFL style, some good colleges, a little CFL. Boone 6'1", 232. That's a big body right there. Toronto Argonauts, right? So he's got experience. Winfrey, selected by the Denver Broncos in the 6th round of the 19 draft. He's 6'1", 210. He's played some good ball, bumped around in the NFL. And then Swain, I'm already giving him a nickname. 6 foot 199, selected Seattle, 6th round of the 2020 NFL draft. He's kind of putzed around a bit in the NFL as well. So there's 3 good receivers there. One of those guys is going to work out, right? Are we all in agreement? Just playing the odds and the stats and knowing that our scouting staff is very competent, smart, and just not bringing these guys up, for them to have a per diem and have a nice place to sleep at the U of S when camp's on. One of these guys is going to be a player. Lots of experience NFL there. I saw that yesterday come through. I was looking through the fog of my life, and I'm like, I like this. And there's always that we didn't know who Dante Myers was 2 years ago this time. We were like, oh, how come we got rid of so-and-so? Dante Myers, who's this guy? Now we know him. He's moving on. It's always going to be that, right? Bit of a developmental league. So there's players that are going to come. I love the Vi Jones. I don't know why. Said it before. Linebacker, they signed him, 2 weeks ago? I think this guy's got a lot of experience. He's going to come up, and I think he's going to work out, and I think he's going to be good for us. I could be wrong. And that's just going off gut. Curious to get Luke Mullinder's comments on all this. We're going to hear more from Jeremy O'Day as the day goes on. Still, Sweden and Italy in men's hockey tied 2-2 almost halfway through the game. The Italians still only have 4 shots on net. Figure that one. As for curling, we'll give you an update as soon as I can figure out the TV on how to get back to that in a bit. Oh, did Canada win? We'll update you as soon as we get back on the curling front. It's the Sports Cage on Wednesdays for Regina Motor Products, home of the winter tire event. I know it's warm out there right now and you're not thinking of winter tires. You might still be this year, or just buy them for next year. RMP, sponsor of the Wednesday Sports Cage. We'll be right back. We are live from downtown Regina. Well, the fellas are anyways. I'm in downtown Saskatoon, right across from Midtown Plaza. Maybe a run in later to San Francisco by a trick yo-yo and a whoopee cushion or something. It's for RMP. Their winter tire cost event still going on. Still more to come. Update, Canada did win. 7-6 over Germany in curling. Whew, that was a tight one. It wasn't supposed to be that close, but Canada's men are 1-0 in curling. Sweden and Italy still tied 2-2 in hockey. That's right. Italy with 4 shots on net tied 2-2. Western Pizza. Why wouldn't a guy or girl tonight? Perfect pizza, generous amount of toppings, and all the Greek favorites you love. Let's go out on the Western Pizza guest hotline. Joining me, color commentator on our Rough Rider broadcasts, the Mr. I thought that was a Kansas City Chiefs when I quickly glanced at your tarp, and I'm like, no, Red Cross. All right, that's good. Luke, how's it going? It's been a few weeks. How are things with you? You've been traveling a lot. You got it down to the wood up top. You're nice and trimmed up there. You're looking good. Looking good, bro.
Yeah, you know what? A lot of travel. We had a little bit of we had a crazy wildfire season last summer, so a lot of our communities are planning. So we're in discussions with that. So it's nice to circle back and talk football, though, for sure.
Yeah, I've been following, we've been chatting as well, but following you on social media. Free agency, tampering window, everything that goes with it. Luke, just, your take on it. Where do you stand with where we are? Do you like how it works in the CFL with the tampering window and then free agency opening up today or yesterday, sorry?
Yeah, so I think that every team, and this is not a fact that it just belongs to me. Like, everybody knows this. Like, in every single sports league, there's tampering of some sort. I think that for the Canadian Football League, the one aspect that we keep forgetting is that we're only a 9-team league. So we're so much smaller than some of these other professional leagues. And that's what kind of gives the opportunity for us to become, or us to come across as Mickey Mouse if our policies around, free agency and the game and refereeing aren't tight, because it's so much more of a noticeable piece when you're such a small shop, right? If we had 32 teams, we may be able to get away with a tampering window. We've got 9 teams. There shouldn't be a tampering window at all. There should be a free agency date. There should be an understanding. What we need to do is we need to create a little bit of legislation to curb teams from just going bananas with tampering. But it happens, right? Like, that's what agents are for, though, right? That's what general managers are for, to get ahead of some of these conversations that are going to happen organically, or at the Grey Cup, just, a matter of fact, run in with an agent and a general manager at Riderville.com, right? Like, so create some policies that curb, just malicious tampering, make it something that you can penalize a team harshly for if they're caught doing it. But again, create one streamline of information, right? And in this regard, we're talking about free agencies. Like, have it be one day. Let's get excited about it. Let's not just sort of be like, hey, breaking news, next week you're going to hear about this. Because again, you're a 9-team league, right? There's not a lot to talk about. So when there's not a lot to talk about, all the things that seem Mickey Mouse, they get talked about a whole lot more. So I'm of the camp that says we absolutely should get rid of this tampering window and just go with free agency. Stuff happens. Let's keep things nice and tight.
Okay, so are you saying February 10th or whatever the tampering window was, that's when free agency starts? Go nuts. Let's make it like Las Vegas. Anything goes. You can do anything. Let's not be like or maybe Austin, Portland, one of those cities. Let's be more like Vegas. Everything goes, open it up, because you make a really good point, which I didn't really think about, how small the league is. Like, I don't know how you escape. I don't know how you escape it with 9 teams.
Yeah, totally. Right. And that's the thing. We keep forgetting that we're a 9-team league. We don't have the capacity of a 32-team league, right? Stuff gets magnified. And the other piece is, I get the feeling that the people that, really like the idea of the tampering window just think that if it goes away, it's going to be like the Wild West. People are just going to be shooting each other. You know what I mean? Things are going to go crazy, right? Like, just there's going to be mass chaos. People are going to start protesting. No, there's going to be conversations. Those conversations, and I hate to break it to a lot of people, but by the way, is that even with the tampering window, people were tampering before the tampering window started. So, I mean, all you're doing is just moving things around. Again, you're a 9-team league. Let's keep things nice and tight. We're talking about evolution of the Canadian Football League so much more these days. Just the fact that we're a nice, neat package will create a lot more, I think, sustainability for the league. But more importantly, it looks better. Like, you know, if I take a present that I wrapped and a present my daughter wrapped and gave it to you, Barney, guess which one you're gonna like better? You're gonna like the nice, tight package, not my thing that's put together like looks like paper mache, is falling apart, right? Like, you want something in a pretty presentation. That's just what, and in a 9-team league, you need it even more.
If you're like me, we just find a bag. We don't wrap it. We just throw it in a bag.
Oh, dude. So, how good is the dollar store these days? They have bags for every size of present. And you just put, and then just, that paper, the light paper you can buy at the dollar store too. Just scrumple that up, throw that bad boy in there, wrap professionally. Look at that.
It looks like you put in a bunch of work while you're there. Grab
that
some
is
berry.
The present bags are the Christmas version of AI when it comes to people taking people's jobs. Like you know how malls set up those like gift wrapping stations and stuff that you can not anymore. You just go buy yourself a bag, throw the gift in that, put some colorful paper on top, you're good.
What do you let's start with what you like that the Riders have done in free agency.
Yeah, I've liked the start. I mean, they focused on the core group of guys that they have, right? The guys that they want to keep in the dressing room, and then they've gone out and looked to replace guys. I know that we've lost some good receiver talent, but I mean, the blessings that the Canadian or the Rough Riders had last year, when a guy like Tommy Neal was out there balling out. There's a lot of people that are upset that Tommy Neal signed somewhere else, but guys, the presence of Tommy Neal kept a guy, why is his name? I can't believe this. His name's escaping me. He's one of my favorite players too. But we had,
receiver.
This is embarrassing. Yeah, we had him in the background.
Sam Emilus?
No, not Sam Emilus. No, he went to the NFL, came back.
Robustelli,
Robustelli's gone. Canadian.
Yeah, he's gone too.
Canadian kid.
Sean Bain.
No, he's not Canadian. Anyways, what I'm saying is that the Riders have a ton of talent that they had in their he was in Indiana before he came back. He came. I can't believe I can't believe his name is escaping me. This is actually like bad. It's a bad look. But anyways, what I'm saying is there's going to be a bunch of folks leaving, but there's going to be a bunch of guys that we continue to forget about. I like the Josh Wood signing, right? The kid from BC. I think that he's potentially a guy that fills the spot that AJ Allen just left. But again, I get the people are upset about losing a guy like CJ Revis. But let's not forget when CJ Revis came back from injury, they didn't put him in the position that he was playing before he got hurt. Want to know why? Because Antoine Brooks was absolutely balling, right? Like, you have to just sort of do the balance. So I think that right now the Saskatchewan Roughriders have really focused in on the core. Why would you not want to bring back your core as a championship team, right? And we see it I know at Ottawa's in their third year of just throwing money around like they're at a strip club, but at the same time, all right, they needed talent. They needed coaching and they needed talent. This is a team that had a ton of depth, and this is a business where guys look at the money. Like, man, Malik Carney, he went to Edmonton and got paid. That's awesome for Malik Carney. AJ Allen, he's the highest paid Canadian linebacker in the league right now. That is exactly what you want to do. He's built his portfolio to the point where he's a highly in-demand asset. But again, that's the business, right? And you have to spend an equal amount of time, bringing guys along and developing players as you do just catering to your star players, because it's a revolving door of talent.
Were you thinking of Joe or Dell Duncan Busby?
A Joe. There you go. how do I forget a guy? But you know what I mean? We had a Joe.
We both forgot his name. We both forgot his name, by the way.
That's what I'm saying, though. We had a Joe in the background, a guy that we know, we've seen incredible things from, was literally in our depths last year because of a guy like Tommy Neal. So as many times as we can say, oh man, we lost that guy, that sucks, as we lost this guy, that sucks, you just have to remember this is a team that had tremendous depth in certain spots, and Canadian wide receiver was one of them. So it's a good thing. And again, you've got a guy like Antoine Brooks. You have to eventually, the guys that we see on special teams, the young guys that get spot duty, that go into the exhibition season and ball out, and you're like, oh man, that guy played great. At some point in time, you have to let these guys play, right? And in the business case, they're also cheaper. You know what I mean? Like there's like Antoine Brooks, as he is an absolute baller, but guess what? He's also a lot less expensive than a guy like CJ Reavis is going to come at, right? So it's a business. I think the Riders have done a good job trying to balance things out. I like the fact that we went and got James Vaughters. He's a veteran. I think that, when you look at Coach Mace's system of defense, which essentially won us the championship, right? And now you've got Josh Bell manning the defensive coordinator position. But when you look at that system of defense, one of the things that you want is a guy that understands the Canadian Football League, is an athlete that can play in multiple spots. Malik Carney had an incredible year, but Malik Carney had a really good year because he was a really effective part of a great system of defense. And I think that when you got a guy like James Vaughters, who's been in different stops in this league, that understands Coach Mace as well and what he wants to do, I think that that's as good a replacement as any when it comes to replacing a guy like Scoop Carney, who had a career year. But I'm happy for those guys who left the Riders, man. They all left and got paid. That's exactly what you want to get done when you're a player.
That's what Jeremy O'Day, we played the clip before you came on, and he said, our free agents are now some of the top paid guys.
Yeah.
So that says something. Maybe one guy that they were able to retain. Is it Trevor Harris for you? AJ, for me, it's Tavon Campbell. I think we saw when he was out how things changed with him. One guy that they maybe were able to bring back, Luke, that you really like the move and how they were able to shoehorn whoever in.
Well, I'll tell you a couple guys. Jacob Brammer, for one. I think he's got an awesome career ahead of him. I love the fact that they brought Yoshi back because he brings so much more leadership than just on the things he does on the field. And by the way, he's coming off a Most Outstanding Lineman award, right? And I also love the fact that we brought Caleb Sanders back on number 92. I think that when you look to replace a guy that meant as much to this team as Micah Johnson did, you have to look at again the guys who were playing in the depths. And every single year that Sanders has been here for the Riders, he has gotten better and better, right? So again, I'm going to stick to what I've been saying since the season finished. The Riders in free agency need to build in to make sure that they keep as many of their core guys that just won a championship in the house, and then build into your offensive and defensive line. So bringing a guy like Brammer back, bringing a guy like Yoshi back, making sure guys like Caleb Sanders who can rush the passer from the interior are back again, right? Making sure that you have the foundations of what it took to win a championship. And what this team did in winning a championship was play great defense and great offensive line play, right? And you got AJ Ouellette back too, who had a tremendous year. There's a ton of things that the Riders can look at and be like, man, they're setting themselves up. I'm telling you, they're setting themselves up for another run.
What do you say to fans, Luke, just about how it works? Again, small league, 9 teams. But I said, if you reverse course here and we could go back 48 months and we would throw out the name Dante Myers, we'd probably go, who? What? What? What do you say to fans about how the scouting staff too, because I think Jeremy O'Day is getting a lot of kudos, but our scouting staff as a whole, who they're looking at, they're putting in the hours down south. They're looking at guys, they're listening to people, all that, because it better than probably anybody because you've been through it. What do you say about how they're working to get the team better with people that we've never heard of?
It's like when it comes to Jeremy O'Day and Kyle Carson, right? It's like the movie Gladiator, the first Gladiator, not the crappy second version. You know, when he's in the arena and he's like, "Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained?" Like, what possibly do you have right now as a Riders fan to doubt Jeremy O'Day and Kyle Carson? Just seriously, tell me. Like, I get it. We are mad that Dante's not going to be here in Ryder Green and he's going to be in the NFL. I get that. But did you know who he was 4 years ago? No. Want to know who did? Jeremy O'Day. And Jeremy O'Day said, "Hey, you know what? This guy could be a player for us." Want to know who else you didn't know about a couple of years ago? Keyshawn Johnson. And guess who got celebrated the most when we found out we got him re-signed? It was Keyshawn Johnson. Everybody's like, "Oh, this is great. This is the guy that Trevor Harris is going to go to. He's our possession receiver." But guys, we didn't know about Keyshawn Johnson a couple of years ago either. Guess who did? Kyle Carson. Like, this scouting department for the Saskatchewan Roughriders, I'm not sure how much more. I don't understand if there's any criticism out there. They just won a Grey Cup. How are you going to just win a Grey Cup and still have to answer questions about who you're scouting? Like, come on. Come on. That's like asking Gordon Ramsay, "Hey, man, I don't know. You sure about this? You sure about this filet mignon recipe?" It's Gordon Ramsay. The guy's a Michelin star chef. You don't question him, right? So we just won a Grey Cup, guys. We literally just won a Grey Cup last year. So I think that the one thing that we can do, and I heard you while I was waiting to jump on, you mentioned the receivers that they just signed. Those are receivers that there's not a lot of familiarity with the name. Just remember, Rider Nation, that's exactly where Keyshawn Johnson started out, right? Dante, that's exactly where he started out. When we saw their names across the transaction sheet, we were like, those guys have never really heard of them, but you know what? Hopefully they work out. And guess what? They worked out. Holy crap. The scouting works. So I don't understand if there's any doubters right now. Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained? That's the way I look at Jeremy O'Day and Kyle Carson. What other questions do they need to answer? They literally had 6 billion offensive line industries over the last 2 years, and they continued to put quality players. Trevor Reed just re-signed in Hamilton. Trevor Reed was here before he went to the NFL. He was another guy. Nobody really knew of him, right? He's just like a guy that Rider Nation hoped he could help out. He was an absolute beast, right? Guys like Brammer. Guys like our left tackle now, guys, we have to start trusting Jeremy O'Day, Kyle Carson, and that scouting staff at some point. We just won a Grey Cup, and I don't know if you're not going to start after a Grey Cup championship. If you're not going to trust them now, I think that you're probably never going to trust them, and that's crazy to me. We just won.
Other teams, we kind of mentioned Ottawa off the start and what they're doing, and they're spending money, like you said, they're at the club. What
Magic City. Man,
how you look at Hamilton, right? They're making moves. Edmonton made some moves. Winnipeg. Then there's some teams that have been a little more quiet. Other teams around the league, Luke, what jumps out at you? What surprises you?
I don't know if it surprised me, but I love what Winnipeg's done. Winnipeg's gone out and got themselves Jarrell Broxton, by the way, who nobody saw leaving BC, but they went and signed Broxton. He's a phenomenal tackle. They got some talent to obviously help out Zach Collaros. The one thing I think with Winnipeg, there's going to have to be a backup plan to Zach Collaros. And you know, the longer we go, the more evidence it's going to get. You know, Calgary being a little bit quiet surprised me too, right? And again, you know, who knows? Calgary could be working as harder than anybody in the CFL, and guys just aren't coming there, right? But you know, I think that I love what Winnipeg's doing. Calgary being a little bit quiet. Edmonton, again, they're the same as Ottawa, right? They had to. I mean, what else are you going to do? Like, you had to go out and get some players there. I'm glad they went and got Scoop because they needed some pass rush. And then Ottawa, you know, again, the way that they're throwing money around is at some point it's going to have to work out for them, right? Like, you can't just keep spending money and not getting the results. So I think that, but the other thing too is nothing really surprises me in the off season, right? Like it's kind of, this is the business, you know, there's going to be some like eye openers, there's going to be some transactions, but at the end of the day, you can't win a championship on paper, and nobody knows that more than the Saskatchewan Roughriders.
Okay, while I got you here, we all know I'm a huge Patriots fan. I went in cautiously optimistic. I wasn't sure if they're going to, I don't know if they'll get back next year, even to the playoffs. We're looking at their schedule now for next year. But man, that was a bad Super Bowl entertainment wise. Sam Darnold didn't shoot the lights out either. Special teams was key. You sat and watched the Super Bowl. Give me your 2 minutes on why it was a great game or why it was absolute dog crap.
Well, I wouldn't say it was dog crap, but I also wouldn't say it was like the most entertaining Super Bowl in the world. I love the way Seattle's defense played. I thought New England was going to be a little bit better off. I was like, man, Josh McDaniels has 2 weeks here to prepare for Seattle's defense. The problem that Josh McDaniel had was that he couldn't be on the field for some of those offensive linemen, especially the guys on the left. Like Seattle just absolutely dominated those guys up front, and that's exactly. I mean, it brings me back to the point about the Riders, right? Continue building into your trenches, offensive line and defensive line. Look at the difference it made. Seattle's defensive line versus New England's offense. It literally changed the entire complexity and rollout of that game. The fact that New England could not block Seattle's defensive front. And then you go and you look at Mike McDonald and you hear his philosophies about, hey, like you're going to set yourself up really well if you're able to stop the run out of, playing 2 high safeties. Like if you can dominate up front the way Seattle did, you always got a chance. So I think though that you guys are all right, man. I think that you'll be back. I mean, Drake Mays he's only going to get better. Listen, come on. You guys had 2 rookies on the left side of your offensive, 2 rookies, right? And everybody's like, oh, we're all making jokes about Will Campbell. Oh, man, he's got these baby arms. Well, I guarantee one thing, none of you guys rush past Will Campbell, that's for sure, right? So I think New England's going to be all right, man. But the real thing is, I think that moving forward, the NFC is going to be absolutely a dogfight. Like, look at the teams in the NFC, man. You've got Seattle that just won the championship. You've got Chicago that's going to be amazing for a little bit longer, as long as Ben Johnson's there. You've got so many teams. LA, right?
San Fran, LA, Green Bay.
I don't know about, but you know what I mean? I think the NFC, man, it's going to be such a dogfight to get into that Super Bowl from the NFC and the AFC, man. I mean, I do think that everybody missed the window. I mean, now the New England's, I disagree with you. I think New England's got a chance to be back and be back a lot from this point on.
Their schedule is way too tough next year. Watch. Colson, write it down. It's I don't even know if they make the play. But the thing to Josh McDaniels, and just as a football coach and a guy that loves football, Luke, and I'm sitting there going, can you not make some adjustments? Can we throw in a few more screens? Can we figure, and how many times have we seen, if you can get to the quarterback with 4 guys in a Super Bowl or in the NFL, world's your oyster.
Yeah, totally. If you don't got to spend all your time blitzing, if you can get back there with 4 guys, it just makes everything so much easier. And again, as a Dallas Cowboys fan who's had to get used to watching his favorite players in the Dallas Cowboys uniform go and win a championship somewhere else, right? It's good to see a guy like DeMarcus Lawrence, just like it was good to see DeMarcus Ware when he won one with the Broncos, right? Yeah, so. But I do have I do have a solution though for the halftime shows, and not like, man, it's ruined, right? Like either we got to they're so political now. It's funny, right? Like we had a couple options, right? You could have watched the Spanish show, but by the way, like, I got why people were so upset about the Bad Bunny thing, right? But at the same time, it was just like, I'll tell you what, like that playlist that Bad Bunny hit us with at the halftime show, if I have that playlist outside of that pool in the summertime, it's going to be the best party in the world, right? It was just a little bit of misplaced, but we could have watched Kid Rock, right?
It wasn't our shtick. It's like when the Guess Who played, it wasn't the shtick of our kids. Listen, it wasn't our thing. No, I sat there and I'm like, not my cup of tea, but I watched it all. And then you know what I think? I need to find one of the tree costumes. That'd be a great Halloween costume to have. That'd be a great Halloween.
I want to be a tree. You're right, man. It wasn't what the people who were at the Super Bowl wanted to see. I get it. You know what? I do have an issue with it though. I mean, like, I know that he didn't speak one word of English, but nobody was complaining when when we were doing the Macarena 20 years ago. We didn't understand what they were saying either, but we were damn sure out there doing all this. You know what I mean? Like, I just think that unfortunately that the show he put on was probably, and again, like, I saw some of the reaction from like the Latino Americans. Like that was a pretty big moment for them, wasn't it? Like they were really emotional about that. I thought that aspect was cool, but I saw why people didn't like it. Right, I got that. But again, like Kid Rock did his own thing on like YouTube or whatever. They could have watched that too. You know what I mean? So again, my idea.
Here we go.
Listen, just abandon music altogether. And let's just go full on gladiator style. All right. The Democrats get to go choose their champion. The Republicans get to choose their champion, and we throw them in at halftime. It's a duel to the death.
Octagon, bare knuckle,
octagon. Gladiator. Hey, that's the only thing that's going to satisfy the viewer these days is if there's blood. So let's go let's just lean into the fact that it's really political. Let the Democrats get their champion, the Republicans get their champion. Let's throw them in the ring. Throw a bunch of weapons out there. Have at it, guys. Man, I really like the gladiator.
I wasn't much of a Macarena guy. I was big Mambo number 5 or Livin' Da Vida Loca though. And then really loved Enrique Iglesias. He had a good album there, late 90s. But yeah, Macarena, not my thing. Okay, let's regroup. We've covered a lot, starting with Don't Wrap Presents, Buy Bags from the dollar store. And
they're like $1.20.
We still got to do,
and they're huge. They're huge. They're $1.20, and you can if you got Barney, if me and you bought a parka for somebody my size, like a 3XL parka, North Face, the things that are massive. There's a bag in there that you can just no need to wrap.
Stuff it in the bag.
If you buy like a mini Tonka toy bag for it, it's amazing. It's amazing.
Thanks for doing this, brother. Nice catching up.
See you guys later, man. All right.
Always fun. Could do this for 3 hours. Just talk to Luke Mullinder about 90s hits and bags from the dollar store and football and everything in between. Let's go to break. It's a Sports Cage. We are streaming through our YouTube channel at sportscage.com and on the home of the Riders, 620 CKRM. Welcome back. I'm in downtown Saskatoon. Colston's got things buttoned up back at the studio in downtown Regina. It is for Regina Motor Products on Wednesday. All right, a couple of you on the Prairie Land Rentals text line 936-6262. You want to know my take on the Super Bowl? Because yes, Patriots fan, had the garb all out, had the flag in the studio, but I wasn't super confident. Did I think they could win? Yes, for sure. That game was very unentertaining, is what I thought. Even with a horse in the race, a dog in the fight, it was a hard watch. When I'm with people that don't even really watch a lot of football and they're like, it's a bad game. Like, yes, it is. I was shocked that the Patriots couldn't figure out a way to adapt and game plan around what Seattle was doing. Seattle's defense was legit. But the week before, how many points, or 2 weeks before, how many points did LA put up on them? It wasn't like they were like not letting teams score. There was a blueprint there to kind of follow. 9-0 at the half. That was the score. 12-0 after 3. That wasn't very entertaining. There was times that I was like, I can't believe this is the Super Bowl. Now, the halftime show, I said, it wasn't my cup of tea. I watched. I was intrigued. I thought if you like that music and you like what Bad Bunny did, I right away went up and read. First off, why the name? Obviously, he's like number 1, Colson, in downloads for music, so he's doing something right. But I'm like, Bad Bunny. And it has to do with a costume that he was forced to wear when he was younger in Puerto Rico. Came from a really not well off, but a decent family in Puerto Rico. Mom's a retired teacher. He went into broadcasting. He wanted to be on the radio. That's what he originally wanted to do. The music, though, didn't speak any English. That didn't matter to me. I listened to Ukrainian music. All the Vitrovia. Love that tune. Who Stole the Kishka? Most of you don't know what the heck Kishka is. It felt very, you're at a Mexican resort and Aqua Sizes just started, which is fine. You're usually carrying a drink or two. You're getting into it. You're kind of doing your, I was fine with it. For a Super Bowl halftime show, but it was the most watched of all time. So what the heck do I know? What do we know? Keep doing what you're doing. I heard that Kid Rock, the other super right side, was a bit of a tire fire. The music was off. People weren't in sync. I didn't watch any of that. So, yeah. And then second half of the football game, the Patriots still could have won the game. We're in a lot of us, even just as a football fan, going, oh, we've seen this before. They're still kind of in it. And then Drake May threw that last interception. He's going to want that one back. He's young. He wasn't that good. Yeah, just not a very entertaining. That's my take on it. And then you look at who the Patriots have to play next year. The schedule's kind of been released. Not the dates, just who they're going to play. I don't know. I'm not confident we get back to the Super Bowl. I'm not even that confident we get back to the playoffs. As a realistic, go look at it. It's not fantastic. That's my take on the Super Bowl. For those of you that asked, is that okay? Or, like, I know some people were messaging me trying to rub it in, and I'm like, I don't care. Yeah, we didn't play good. Seattle deserved to win. Seattle won. It was a boring game. I had some decent eats. It was all right. Sprinkle of the day brought to you by SportsSelect.com. Ho, ho, ho. You're not going to like this out there. Did I hit one the other day? Canada's women's hockey team yesterday against the USA. When I heard Marie-Philippe Poulin was out, did I hammer the Americans? Sorry. It's business. It's not about patriotism. Tomorrow, Canada's men play. SportsCage.com if you're watching. Colson's going to pull it up. You can go to SportsSelect.com for Sprinkle of the Day. You can bet on this game by itself because it's got the little S there. Canada 120, Czechia 715. International hockey and Olympic hockey. Ask the Finns that were 2-goal favorites a lot of places today and lost 4-1 to Slovakia today. Wild ride. Now, we got Brent Krahn coming up in hour 2. We're going to talk a lot about this. I think Canada is really good. And I am not the massive support, rah. I get it. I'm Canadian. My passport says that. But I remember how ununified our country is. If the Olympics bring some of you together, that's great. I'm still going to cheer for Canada when it comes to this. But they're 120. Czechia 715. The tie's 520. And Canada's 2.5 point spread. That's where maybe some people will look. Well, Czechia keep it to a 2-goal game, then you can win. Or the over-unders at 6. I think I hit I don't know. Maybe the over. I think Canada could come out of the gate here good, but Czechia is going to be good. It's international hockey. It's weird. You can bet, do your own thing. SportsSelect.com. You don't have to print out the slip if you don't want. Go to SportsCage.com or SportsSelect.com. Print it out. Get the QR code. They scan it at your Lotto Spot retailer. You're good to go. Must be 18 plus to play and play responsibly. Every bet is 100% legal. Their Sprinkle of the Day. Brent Krahn's coming up for Sports Select in place of Eric Francis. It's going to be a lot of fun. Let's go to break here, though. We're running up against the clock. We'll come back with the ticker. It's a SportsCage streaming through our YouTube channel at sportscage.com. It was close, but Canada pulls it out in men's curling at the Olympics. Game number 1, 7-6 over the Germans. Hockey-wise, surprising. Slovakia beat Finland 4-1. Sweden's only up 3-2 on Italy going into the third period of play. Canada plays Czechia tomorrow. They open it up. Shout out Saskatchewan's Maya Schwinghammer. In women's mogul, she finished 5th, just outside of the medal podium. Regina Pats are in Saskatoon tonight, 6:30. Pre-game show on 620 CKRM. Pats are important. Other Saskatchewan team in action. The Broncos are in Calgary. SJ Yorkton travels to Weyburn. Melfort welcomes Estevan. Prairie Junior Hockey League pilot Butte plays host to the Regina Capitals. AAA boys, Yorkton welcomes Notre Dame. Female AAA Weyburn Gold Wings are at the Regina Rebels, 7:45. It is for Reliance Heath. Switch today. $200 cash back with your new water heater. Some conditions apply. Call on Reliance. We're back in hour 2. NHL insider Brent Krahn will join us. It's the Sports Cage. We'll be right back. Welcome back to hour 2 of the Sports Cage. I'm in downtown Saskatoon. Colson's back at 12th and Rose in downtown Regina. Thanks for making time today. Whether you're watching us on the YouTube stream at sportscage.com or listening on any of the audio streams, or of course 620 CKRM. It's for Regina Motor Products on Wednesday, where they have the winter tires at cost event on now until March 31st. You don't even have to put them on this year. You can save them for next year because it's like +8 out today. It's beautiful. Lots of Olympic talk. If you missed it, Canada's men's curling team did defeat Germany 7-6. I was told to hammer Canada -2.5. Glad I didn't do that. But a win's a win in the Olympics. Still more to come. More from Jeremy O'Day. He talked to the media today. We're going to hear from him. We'll also talk about the WHL coming up. But since Eric Francis is away in Cabo San Lucas, I thought, let's try and get Brent Krahn on. Brent Krahn, former Calgary Hitmen, a lot of you are going to remember, played with our Ryan Getzlaff. Then he was drafted by the Calgary Flames, cup of coffee in the NHL, little Dallas Stars stint. And I hear Krahner a lot on The Fan in Calgary. And then you see him if you're watching Sportsnet when Eric's on there, Flames games. And I was like, I wonder if he'd come on. It's the break, I know. And he said, absolutely. Anything for Sasky. He's a Manitoba guy. So he said he'd come on. Let's get it going here inside the NHL with Brent Krahn.
Now for Inside the NHL with Eric Francis on the Sports Cage. Inside the NHL is brought to you by Sports Select. Getting in on more of the sports action you want is as easy as playing at sportsselect.com. Simply make your picks online, generate your QR code, and lock in your bet at your local Lotto Spot retailer.
Brent, I probably should have said former Pembina Valley Hawk as well, but we left that. My boy actually dusted them twice in the Winnipeg tournament this year. So
settle down. You know, it's Pembina Valley first of all.
Okay,
and
sorry.
We used to come up to the PA Mentos tournament back in the day, the AAA midget hockey tournament up there. We won that thing once, just so you know. So you can get all high and mighty over there in your hot seat. You know, Pembina Valley is a class organization. They breed some good hockey players, and obviously you didn't find out that day. Good on your boy for beating them.
Ice Mania was the name of the tournament in Prince Albert, and they had the awesome sweaters. It had all the team name and players. It was probably the best sweater a kid could have owned at that time if you were lucky enough to play in it. Thanks for doing this. Eric Francis in Cabo. Would Eric Francis be swim up bar guy? Would he be reading under the shade all day, or would he just be the weirdo guy hanging out in the lobby all day? I don't know.
I don't think Francis can get a beer anywhere. So I think he's begging the bartender for another drink. You know, he's that guy. He's probably down there getting his tips frosted, you know, back in the late 90s, right? He was the media guy for the Calgary Sun when I was back playing for the Hitmen in the late 90s. And he'd hop around the dressing room every once in a while and be like, who's this guy with the frosted tips showing up? Could barely spell, couldn't put a sentence together, and all of a sudden he's a reporter for reporting on the Calgary Hitmen. So I'm sure he's begging for beer right now and nobody's serving him.
Big rum guy. I don't know if you're watching this Sweden-Italy game. Sweden's up 3-2. The Italian goalie just made a 6 save on a breakaway. Looks like he might have torn his groin, and I'm not even joking, or there's some sort of issue with his knee. Let's talk Olympic hockey first, Krahner. And as Finland found out today, the favorites not always the favorites. They lose 4-1 to Slovakia. International hockey is a weird thing sometimes, and I think personally we could see it at the Olympics this year.
1,000%. And two, like when you're a team like Finland, they usually make it hard on themselves. in round robin play, right? They squeak in, they're the bottom team, and then they make a name for themselves in the playoffs or when it matters most. And when you're playing, like Slovakia is no slouch, right? They had 16 shots on net today, and they scored 4 goals. Finland had 31. And shots aren't the end-all, be-all, but I believe Finland kind of carried play a little bit, and Slovakia made the most of their opportunity. Today, I was just watching the Sweden-Italy game and until the end of the second period here, and Sweden's got, 41 shots on net, and the Italians have 11. And there's no
50,
business.
It's 50-12.
Like, come on, right? And for the Italians being the home country, they have everything to gain and nothing to lose, right? You're playing against a powerhouse like Sweden. Sweden's going to win that game 4-2, and they could crush them 30-0. But because it's just that atmosphere, it's that game, you just have to win. It doesn't matter how much you win by. You just have to win. You have to get in. I'm sure Finland will be fine. They don't like losing the first game, but the Finns, as you know, they're a blue collar people. They battle hard, and they get kicked every once in a while, and they get back up and they keep going.
Italy was forced to pull their goalie that just made 48 saves, and now they have the other. He legitimately got hurt on that breakaway. It was a 6th save. I'm sure you'll see it later. Canada, they start tomorrow. Czechia, they're deep, obviously. What intrigues you about Team Canada?
For me right now, there's 2 things. Macklin Celebrini, I'm very curious to see how he does at this tournament. He played in the what's that tournament at the end of the hockey? Yeah, and he showed up. He played well. He got to play with Nathan McKinnon and Sidney Crosby, and he's back at it again. He's having a hell of a year. I think right now they have him slated with Tom Wilson and McDavid. Is that the top kind of the top line? We'll see how it goes. There's so many good players on that team. So his performance, I'm actually really curious about. And then obviously goaltending, right? Like Binnington has been a tire fire for the last 2 years, aside from being phenomenal when Canada need him most in the Four Nations Cup, a made-up tournament that the trophy didn't matter. It was just beating the Americans. And so you saw him and how well he played, especially in that overtime. And I would imagine that he would get the start, and it would be his net to lose. But with a guy like Logan Thompson coming through, I'm going to see how much of an opportunity he gets. I think that's up to Binnington. If Binnington plays well, we won't see much of Thompson. But if Binnington falters, we're going to see a bit more of Thompson. But the goaltending thing is always something that intrigues me no matter what, whether it's Eddie Belfour, Roberto Luongo, Martin Brodeur, Carey Price. I always used to be a sure bet in Canada who you'd have a net. And for the last little bit here, it hasn't been the case, but Binnington's definitely the front runner, and I'm very curious to see how he does.
Let's stay on goaltending then, and then we can shift back to lines, because you, as a former professional goalie, I remember Salt Lake City, and where Cujo, it was kind of supposed to be his net. He was the guy. He was playing really well, and then we lost to Sweden, and then they had to do the pivot, and maybe they were always going to go to Brodeur, but then they went to Brodeur, and then Brodeur ran the table for us and won. For the goaltenders, do you think? And Binnington seems like a really emotional guy, and goaltender wise, do you think that there would probably be some nerves there to be like, well, if I don't, they're probably going to go to Thompson, and then they even have Saskatoon boy Kemper. Do you think that there'd be some uneasiness there?
Yeah, I do think that Binnington's leash will be short. He's obviously, he won a Stanley Cup with the St. Louis Blues, brought him back from nothing to Stanley Cup champions against the Boston Bruins. I think it was in 2019. He was average at best in the Four Nations Cup until they needed him the most. I do believe a guy like Binnington is a gamer, and you speak about being emotional. For a goaltender, I played against or with very few guys that if they were emotional, that they were any good. Emotions can bring out the worst in people, and especially goaltenders, because your teammates rely on you to be calm, cool, and collected. Whether you let in a bad goal, whether you make a great save, it's just they just want to see ice water running through your veins. And I mean, Tim Thomas is a prime example of a guy that could play with emotion and arguably play better when he was fired up or heated up. A guy like Jordan Binnington, a lot of his emotion early on in his career was based off immaturity. I feel he was just doing stupid things that made no sense. He's kind of cut a lot of that crap out, for lack of a better term, but he runs hot. And when he's going to be going through his Olympic journey here right now, he's got something to prove. And I think with him being in St. Louis the last couple of seasons, things haven't gone really great. He hasn't been overly spectacular. He hasn't got them into the playoffs. He hasn't been a key performer for him, or at least up to his expectation. But I think going back to being a gamer, I think this is a tournament for Binnington. There's not many games. It's kind of one and you're done type scenario. You play 3 round robin games, and I still would go back to his experience of being in Game 7, winning in Boston, right? Going overtime against the U.S. in the Four Nations Cup. Like, when it matters most, he has proven that he can do it. So Canada just needs to win. I wouldn't get too overly concerned of how much they beat teams by. I mean, the Czechia is going to be a great test. Switzerland's going to be the next one, and I think they play France on Sunday, and that's if they beat France 2-1, everybody's going to be like, "Oh, we're all scared." But you just got to beat these teams that have no business really being in the tournament. You just got to win. And so I think for a guy like Binnington, once the games matter most, he will be able to put it on. I'm a huge fan of Darcy Kuemper. I think he is phenomenal. He's a gamer. He's won a Stanley Cup as well, right? He's a good old Western League boy. You said he's from Saskatoon, played for the Red Deer Rebels. The guy, like, big body, very athletic, super competitive too. He's got a bit of a temper on him too, as you guys have known over the years too. You can see his body language last year in the playoffs against Edmonton, or I would say the last 3 years. But for him in particular, like, he's a fiery competitor. And they have 3 good goaltenders. Logan Thompson, we haven't seen what he can do on a big stage yet either. He's got his big contract. He's been playing well for the Washington Capitals, but he hasn't obviously been in the big moments yet. And so you're going to see exactly where everybody fits. But Binnington, for me, is my guy.
Brent Krahn's joining us on Inside the NHL. He's stepping in for Eric Francis here. All your years playing, especially pro, you could even go to junior too. Who was the most emotional goalie that you had to share a net with?
Boy, that's without even thinking about it, the first person that comes to mind is Andrei Pavlich. He played for the Winnipeg Jets for a long time, Atlanta Thrashers. He was a Czech guy. You could see how hot he would get. He just physically, when he was upset, you could just see him kick stuff and swing his stick and shake his head and do all this. Like, my very first game in the American Hockey League was against the Providence Bruins. And I get called up from the East Coast Hockey League, and who's in net across from me is Tim Thomas. And I didn't know who this guy was. I just knew I was looking at the game notes before the game, and he's whatever. At the time, I was 21 or 2, or I can't remember. He was 27 or 28. And we ended up losing the game, but throughout the game, we lost 4-3 at the Dunkin' Donuts Center in Providence. And this Tim Thomas was just flying around, pushing his net off the moorings. He was shaking his head. He was chasing the referee down. He was losing his marbles. And in my mind, I'm like, what is wrong with this guy? Like, no wonder he's in the American Hockey League. You know what I mean? And I'm a rookie puke who has just been there for a handful of games. And I'm watching this guy who's been around for almost 10 years longer than I have, watching him lose his marbles. And I'm sitting there thinking, well, this makes no sense. But he had turned out to have one hell of an NHL career, won a Stanley Cup with the Boston Bruins. And we've seen him with him and Sean Avery. Remember that when Sean Avery hit him in the back of the head with a stick at the blue line, and Tim Thomas is chasing him around, right? Like, hey, good old Manitoba boy, Ronnie Hextall, with the Philadelphia Flyers, right? Like, watching him chase Chris Chelios around the ice. And then the funny part too, obviously I'm very fortunate to be a part of the Calgary Flames alumni, albeit for my short cup of coffee in the National Hockey League. But you got the old boy there from Hannah, Alberta, Lanny McDonald. And if you ever get a chance to go on YouTube and watch him and Billy Smith fight, and Billy Smith's calling off the D and the forwards, like, no.
Yeah.
I'm gonna.
We talked about that a couple of weeks ago on the show after the goalie fight. One of the ones that I remember, it wasn't a goalie fight; it was a goalie and Lanny with that bad Northlands helmet, and then Billy tells the D-man, "No, I got this."
Yeah. And I show my son that, and I'm dying laughing. My son's 14, and it's like, this is like, and so I Lanny, I always give him a hard time. It's like, he hates goalies. He wants to fight all of us, right? But at the end of the day, Billy stood up for the union, and they went toe to toe. And I'm obviously kidding, but there's when you go back to your earlier question about emotions and goaltenders, and it's not normally. Patty Waugh was an emotional goaltender, right? We've seen him lose his marbles.
Yeah.
The fights between him and Mike Vernon.
Eddie Belfour, another Manitoba guy, he was emotional.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you remember those exchanges in the old Chicago Stadium with Mike Keenan and Eddie Belfour when Keenan would pull Ed and Ed would have his helmet on and they'd go at it back and forth. And like, there are certain guys that can play with that emotion, and there's not many of them. I personally was never one that when emotion got into my game, I stopped worrying about the puck and if I was going to stop or not. I was more concerned about who I was going to spear or whack or punch in the back of the head when they weren't looking, right? And that took away from my game. So I had to bottle them up, right here. There's still a lot of emotion trapped from right here to right there that hasn't been dealt with yet. But you got to be in charge of that.
Is your son a goalie?
Yes, of course.
So right. How are you as a goalie parent? Are you anything like your parents were?
So the hardest part is, like, when I was a kid and I was playing goal, my old man would, like any goalie parent, would stand in the corner of the rink, wouldn't sit with the parents, didn't want to hear nothing. Oh, we should have had that. Oh, that was a mistake. Oh, what's he doing? Oh, we need a better goaltender, all that stuff. So my dad would sit in the corner. So when my very first game in Brandon, I was playing obviously with the Calgary Hitmen, but we'd come to Brandon, and so my family would come out and the extended family. My dad sat in the van outside with a coffee and listened to the game on the radio because he couldn't handle people, like, oh, that Krahn sucks. Oh, he's a joke. Oh, he should have made that save. And my uncles on my mom's side would always give my dad a hard time. And my dad would just, he had it took a toll on him, let's say, right? Yeah. And so I always thought when I was playing, it's like, Dad, I'm the one stopping the puck. Relax. And if I'm not stopping the puck, I'm not getting overly worked up over it. I'm doing my best. And it was easier to play than to watch. So I always thought if any one of my kids wanted to be a goaltender, I'd be the coolest goalie dad. I'd be calm. I'd be cool. I'd be like, hey, you're just trying your best. Just go out there and have some fun, and I'll help you along the way. I'm a terrible goalie parent. I can't even watch my son play. There's so many things that he does that I never, like, in terms of his approach. Like, he doesn't, like, things that don't bother him that bother me, and I can't say it because I don't want him to overthink things, right? So I'm like, I can, in warm-up, he just stands there half the time and lets stuff in. And I'm watching, like, you got to get ready. And I'm losing my mind. I'm texting my wife because I'm the assistant coach. I'm texting my wife on the bench. I'm like, this is embarrassing. I can't watch this. It's off. Like, and I'm already melting before the game's even started. Yeah. And so I'm just like every other goalie dad. It doesn't matter. When he makes a save, I'm relieved. When he lets one in, I'm like, what were you doing? When he goes out to play the puck, I'm like, what do you, I'm just questioning everything. And so my son will come to me in the intermissions because he's 14. He's just playing Calgary minor hockey here. And he comes to the bench. He's like, Dad, I saw you shaking your head. I'm like, don't pay attention to me shaking my head. You just worry about stopping the puck, right? And I'm not shaking. I can't control it. You know what I mean? So, like, I'm better off just sitting in the dark room watching the game on Live Barn where he can't see my emotion, because I can, as coaches, or as parents, we're all the perfect player. We should, this is what's happening.
I know.
Should be, if I was in that situation, I'd be 100 out of 100. But when you're in that situation and you're seeing it in real time, it's different. So we all need tests in life. We all need challenges. And watching my son play goal is punishment for how hard of a time I used to give my dad about just relax and watch the game, old man, I got this. And now I'm getting paid back for that, because he would say, but I have no control over the game. You do. And I can't watch you play hockey because it drives me nuts.
I can't. It's so funny. My boy's 14 too. And just the other 2 games ago, it was skating off the ice after the second period. And I was just like giving him, like, where's the effort? It was more the effort thing, shaking my head. Yeah. And he yells at me. He goes, "Shut up, you're dust." Classic kid. So then I'm like, and then my wife will chime in and she'll go, you understand he's trying to win, right? Like he's trying his best.
Yeah.
As the teacher comes out and I'm like, I know, but then back to your warm-up thing, I'm like, how come you're not practicing your backhand in warm-up? Like that's how you get it ready in the game. How you not practice? And I'm just like, yeah, sometimes I just need to shut up, grab the Yeti and sit in the corner and have a stiff one.
Coffee in there. That's it, right?
Yeah. What do you think? Okay, so we talked about Canada. Part of me, as we go through this, and Sweden just scored again, so they're up 2, but they got like almost 60 shots. Part of me is like, I don't know if the USA is going to be the team with Canada. And I know we look at the 4 nations. Like, I don't know about the USA when it comes to this, but they do have good goaltending.
Well, they do. They're going with Connor Hellebuck, which is fine, but I'd like to see Jake Ottinger in there more. I honestly would. But he hasn't been overly spectacular when it's mattered most either. In the Western Conference Final last 3 years, he's been average at best. This tournament's missing the Russians, right? And I know it's a sensitive topic, so I'm not going to get into it. But Canada's rival is the Russians, right? We played the U.S. a ton of times, and they are so good. But there's such a history between the Canada and Russia, right? So with the U.S., you can see all the hoopla, you can see all the media stuff, you can see the Kachucks having a blast. We saw what happened in the Four Nations Cup. We saw the fights right at the start, and that was USA's Four Nation Championship was fighting Canada in Montreal at that one game. They thought that they had won the whole tournament. For a made-up tournament, there was so much on the line, right? This year, I'm more concerned about the U.S. defense and how well they move the puck, how well they skate. They're a super talented team, and they very well could beat the Canadians, and that's not like anybody can beat anybody when it comes to Canada, U.S., Sweden, especially. But predominantly when the chips are down and it's a big moment, you're proud to be a Canadian hockey player. And guys like Nathan McKinnon, Connor McDavid, Cale Makar, Jordan Binnington, Shea Theodore, the list goes on. We have Sam Bennett on the team now, finally, which is nice because, we talk about the reason why they chose Jordan Binnington is because he's a gamer. Well, he's been a tire fire for the last while, but he's a gamer. But then we don't choose Sam Bennett because this, that, and the other thing. Well, he was the Conn Smythe winner last. He's a gamer himself, but there wasn't room for him on the team, and now there is, which I think is fantastic. You got Brad Marchand. You got guys that can dig deep, and Canadians, for all their humility, don't make a lot of waves in the media. They go out there, they play their game, they take their licks. And so for them to play the Americans, that's a huge pressure game because there's a lot of hype, a lot of hoopla, a lot of hot air coming from the South, and they're a good club. They can beat you, no doubt about it. But the Canadians go out there, they handle their business, and if the Canadians were to meet the U.S. at some point, that's what this tournament's all about. That's what best on best is. And you cannot, I get goosebumps thinking about it. I remember being at my local pub watching Canada play the U.S. the Four Nations Cup in overtime, and the whole bar is just sitting on the edge of their seats because it's not even the U.S. It's whoever Canada's playing in a meaningful moment, and
True.
And then on top of that, there's obviously a lot of pride, and so once again we go back to the goaltending. It's Connor Hellebuck, and what is he? He's a fantastic goaltender. He won the Vezina Trophy last season. He's a great goaltender, but I'm a little bit leery of him because he hasn't been able to overcome that hump of getting to become a winner, and a tournament like this where he's having an off year, I can see him having a lot to prove, and I'm very curious to see how he's going to do. He could be a deciding factor. He really could, but at the end of the day, we have Sidney Crosby, right? Sidney Crosby is the ultimate leader. We have Connor McDavid. We have Nathan McKinnon. Who wouldn't want our forward group, right? Our defense is solid, and our goaltending. How many teams, what do they say now in the National Hockey League? They don't need a number one goaltender to win a Stanley Cup. We just need a goalie that doesn't let in bad goals and can play solid. We saw Aiden Hill do it with the Vegas Golden Knights, right? And when Darcy Kemper won a Stanley Cup with Colorado, it was him and Pavel Francouz. That they did it as a team.
Yeah.
You just need a guy in net that doesn't give up backbreakers, that doesn't give up goals at bad times, and that's what the Canadians need. And we'll see what happens. Like I said, I cannot wait to watch the game tomorrow against Czechia. I can't. This is best on best. This is what we've all been waiting for.
5-2 Sweden on top of Italy. We got about a minute and a half left. I'm wondering, and I wanted to ask you this because you played with him, I think it's for like 4 years in Calgary. He's over there with Team Canada. Regina boy, Ryan Getzlaf. What's your favorite Ryan Getzlaf story from playing with him all those years in Calgary?
There's so many. So what I'll say about Getzey, I'll never forget. He was 16 years old. He was a pencil-neck little geek showing up in Calgary. And he was so talented, and we're all on the ice thinking, like, who the hell is this? He's smiling out there. He's, like when you're 16 years old, and we were all 16 at one point, we all knew everything. I'm the hardest worker. I'm the most talented. I'm the best at everything. And he comes to training camp, and everybody's saying, there's Ryan Getzlaf. It's like, well, who's this Ryan Getzlaf kid? He sticks around. He's on the ice, and he's just such a, it's happy, smiley guy. And we're like you're 16, look, try to make the team. He was so darn good. It was unbelievable. And he was the size of my pinky finger when I met him. I'm obviously quite a bit bigger than when he last met me too, but I'll never forget, he was probably 160 pounds, soaking wet. And he would be out there practicing, and then all of a sudden, I'll never, I think it was second summer, he was at World Junior Camp in Calgary, and I was on the ice for a conditioning camp, getting ready for the start of the NHL season. I saw him, and he had all of a sudden, he had this big barrel chest. All of a sudden, it's like he hit puberty. It's like he went from Ryan Getzlaf to Ryan Getzlaf. You know what I mean? And the skill was always there. The will was always there. And sometimes I think too, the guy was never challenged enough because he was just so good. He could just, if you wanted to get to this level, he would just do this. He would just continue to out-compete, out-battle, out-will. And guys like him, I don't think exist anymore, honestly. He had that edge to him. He could be mean. He was pretty witty. He was clever. He could chirp. He could hit you. He would spear you. And those players don't exist. And Getzey, throughout his career, even until he lost his hair, he was still one of my favorite hockey players to the end of this. I still chat with him every once in a while. He's gracious enough to come on in Calgary with us every once in a while. I'm so happy to have played hockey with that guy. He's one of the best human beings and one of the best hockey players I've been on the ice with.
We'll have to talk more about him the next time we have you on, Brent. Thanks so much for doing this. This was awesome. Appreciate you filling in and stepping in. And yeah, it starts tomorrow. It's 5-2 Sweden. They're gonna wrap it up over Italy, but Canada, Czechia tomorrow should be a good one. Thanks, man.
Appreciate the time. Thank you so much.
There he is. Former Calgary Hitmen, drafted first round by the Calgary Flames, Brent Krahn. You can hear him often on The Fan in Calgary. And of course, he's with Eric Francis on Sportsnet as well. NHL Insiders brought to you by Sports Select. Make your picks online now. Take the QR code to the Lotto Spot retailer. Every bet is 100% legal. A chance of winning cash in hand. Must be 18 plus to play. Play responsibly. Sports Select. We'll go to break. We'll come back with the Clutch Performer and more from Jeremy O'Day. It's a Sports Cage streaming through our YouTube channel at sportscage.com. All right, my Clutch Performer at 5-2 Sweden beats Italy in men's hockey, but it was tight there. It was tied for the longest time. The Italian goalie, starting goaltender, got injured in the third, making a unbelievable save. Team Italy, good on you for giving it all you had against Sweden. And then Slovakia upset Finland today. And then, we talked to Brent Krahn, it's probably not a big upset, but Slovakia, they were, I think, 2.5 point underdogs going into the game, Colson.
International hockey. It's great.
International hockey.
To watch.
What do you got for a clutch, buddy?
So I mentioned these guys last year, and their streak continues. The Western University men's squash team has won their 42nd straight OUA championship. Last year it was 41, and yeah, now they're at 42. So that's going back to 1984.
Jeez.
Yeah.
To 1984?
Yeah.
Who did they beat?
I don't have that in front of me. Let me pull that up.
Who else plays squash? So it's Western. Western's a big squash school.
Apparently.
Huh.
Here.
The other teams must just be showing up like they don't even have unis. Just guy in shorts and tank top.
Could be.
That's 1980s. That is a run and a half. Can you send that to me, that story? That's a good find. Did anyone else out there know, 936-6262 Prairie Land Rentals text line, that there was such a wagon when it comes to squash? Western University?
Again, I mentioned
Isn't that
last
where
year.
Eric Francis's daughter goes?
Could
goes
be.
to somewhere
I don't
like
know
that.
if she's in squash, and either way, it's the men's team. But
she's learning how to play Ramoli, he said.
yeah, the participating schools is Western, Waterloo, Toronto Varsity Blues, Queens, Brock, Guelph, McMaster, and Ottawa, because it is the Ontario Athletics.
Okay.
But
there you go. Learn something every day on this show. Squash, right there. Western can't beat them. That's a run and a half. Clutch Performer is for Keln Solar, located in Lumsden, Saskatchewan. If you need solar house, farm, cabin, livestock operation, Keln Solar. Find them online. Keln Solar, family-run business in Lumsden, Saskatchewan. Okay, back to Jeremy O'Day. He talked to the media today on free agency and what's been happening so far. Dave Thomas asked him, like, how does he balance humanity and emotions with the business of pro football?
It's very challenging. We spend the whole year or years together, and they give you everything they got. They're out in the community. They're busting their butts at practice and working out and doing everything they're asked and trying to be solid in the community, like I said. And then there comes a point where it has to become a business decision, and it's a challenge. And as I said earlier, I would have loved to just say let's have everyone back, and but when I presented everyone with their exact same contracts, it really changed quickly. That's a joke. These guys, they're on a Grey Cup championship team, and they played at a very high level, and so they also have to make decisions, based on their own situations, and so it's difficult because you don't really, the guys that are leaving, you don't know when to say goodbye to them. You don't know if you should call them or not, and so. The truth of the matter is we'd love to have everyone back, but we couldn't. And so very challenging part of the job is the relationships you have with those players. And hopefully they don't change because of the business side of it. But, unfortunately, sometimes it's a tough part of the job.
Yeah. We talked about it in hour one. He kind of told us, he teed it up 2 weeks ago that they weren't going to be bringing everything back. He was asked, are there any more free agent signings pending?
There's no deals that are coming down right now, but don't have any that are out. But again, it can change. We'll still have conversations with some guys that are still pending free agents, and if it's something that fits for both of us, then you just never know. But we do that the whole season.
Going back quickly to the Prairie Land Rentals text line here, and a number of you again asking how is Ottawa, how is Edmonton doing it within the salary cap. It was Ray and Terry asking that, and we had Luke Mullinder on in hour one. If you missed it, we're going to run it in hour three again. And there are some teams throwing out some big money, and some rider guys, former riders, are getting paid, and that's a good sign. And Jeremy O'Day talked about it in hour one. We played the clip where he said all of our free agents are top tier guys, and they're going and they're getting money. And then, we had to pay them. And if they're going other places, well, those teams are paying them. So that's a good sign. And then Luke also talked, and we talked about our scouting staff has been good. So some of these guys that we don't know their names right now that they're bringing in, they could be, the next CJ. They could be the next Carney. They could be the next Dante Myers, who I know has only gone to the NFL, and he could be back on the receiving end of things. Areas of focus. Jeremy O'Day talked about the areas of focus for him.
We're gonna have at least one young defensive end, possibly two, and I think every year we go in, there's a couple positions that we're going to be younger at, and they're just players that most people haven't heard of yet, and they're going to battle it out in camp. But we'll have multiple positions that are battling. The will linebacker obviously will be a new will. Sam will be a new position. We'll probably have another offensive lineman that will be an open position. So we focus in on those, but I think one of the keys to us having success last year was the depth that we had, right? So and you can see it when you have so many guys that are signing with other teams, and so many that you can bring back. But so we'll continue to try to work on guys that will bring value and depth, and but those are probably some of those positions.
It's the other thing too, when you think about it, this is the first time for Jeremy O'Day as a GM for the scouting staff and everyone involved. You're coming out of this, or you're going through free agency as the Grey Cup champion, as the team, as the measuring stick now going in to next season. So is free agency different coming off a championship?
It's a little bit different, but probably not in the good way, because our players were sought after. I think the guys, getting the guys back, everyone, I assumed that everyone wanted to be back, but it also had to match financially, and so some of those decisions were made for financial purposes. But we did have some players that left money on the table with other teams that decided they wanted to come back and try to win back-to-back Grey Cups. So they took less than what they could have got with other teams, and there's other guys that are just they're just at different points of their careers where they're maybe ascending, and you don't fault them for that. Everyone's in a different chair for what they want, and some guys it was important to be back on the team. Some guys are looking at it from a financial aspect, and I totally understand both sides of it.
All right, Prairie Land Rentals text line, Prairie Land Rentals, 600 Albert Street. You get to deal with the owner when you stop in there. Anything you need rental. Big Bry messaged in. He said, yeah, the Super Bowl was an awful watch. The CFL sales guys should be banging on advertisers' door with a tape of the Grey Cup. Stop monkeying around with their game and sell it for how good and exciting it is. Grey Cup game, way more entertaining than the Super Bowl. I'll debate that with anyone. There were high school football championships around the world, but in Saskatchewan, 6-a-side, 9-a-side, 12-a-side, that were more exciting than that Super Bowl. There were regular season games in different sports. There were flag football. I watched flag football games in the U of R fields this year that were more exciting than that Super Bowl. So yeah, Bri, I totally agree with you there. Linda on the Prairie Land text line. Have we heard anything about Mitch Picton? Well, Sharky and I have talked about it. Sharky's in tomorrow with me. We'll be back downtown Regina, hopefully. We think he's leaning towards retirement, and that has been the word on that. Colson, sorry to sidetrack you here. Can you go to 14? Because Jeremy O'Day did talk about updates on Mitch Picton and Jorgen Hughes.
Still kind of ongoing with Jorgen, American receivers, and we do a great job. And I think he's. I think there's, just.
You got two things playing.
Give me a second. Not sure what happened there.
Do you want? Am I going here? Oh, sorry. It's some confusion. I'm in Saskatoon, Colson's in Regina. Regardless, sounds like Mitch is could be retiring.
Still kind of ongoing with Jorgen, and I think he's just trying to just evaluate whether he wants to play again or not, and he's got off-field stuff that he does as well, and so kind of ongoing with Jorgen, and we really haven't talked to Mitch too much. My understanding is that Mitch is probably not going to play. But we probably need to follow up on that. But the last we spoke with his agent, that was kind of the plan for Mitch.
That makes sense right there. There you go. We heard it. That was a busy hour. Still more to come. We're talking with check in with Crofty. We'll also have the ticker update you on what's going on in the Olympics. It is the Sports Cage. I'm live in Saskatoon. Colson's in downtown Regina. We're streaming through our YouTube channel at sportscage.com. Welcome back to the Sports Cage on this Wednesday, brought to you by Regina Motor Products. Still have the winter tire sale on until March 31st. We are going to get more snow at some point. I know it feels like spring, and we all want the golf courses to open. Probably not going to happen. Canada's sitting with still 3 medals at the Olympics. We'll update you there in the sports ticker in moments. Let's go out and talk the weekly chat with Dan Croft. Crofty, you've been watching much of the Olympics over the last few days.
I've been checking in once in a while. We've been a little busy, but around the ranch. But I kind of a big about 5 a.m. when I get up, I have my coffee and kind of catch up on what's going on. There's something live usually. I think it was two woman luge this morning was on. I was watching that for about a half hour.
The women do double luge too? I thought it was just the men. Apparently,
yeah. It's I think it might be a first time because I saw something that was, or maybe first time Canada. They said something about first time Canada has ever competed in it. So maybe it's a first time event. I'm not sure. I hadn't had 2 coffees at that time. I'd only had 1. So.
What can we tell the people about Croft Electric today? All the great work you guys do in southern Saskatchewan.
Yeah, thanks for asking. So we're still running our preferred member program, which gets us out there and do one of those 24-point inspections, whether it's on your house, your business, your farm, your barn, your whatever. Let us get ahead of some of those problems. Let us find some of those things that may be coming up. I know I was just out playing in the mud myself out on a job site. It's so nice out, and everybody kind of starts, like you said, start thinking about golf and start thinking about spring, which is great because let's start thinking about those spring projects. While that snow flies in the next couple of weeks, we can get planning and get something going for you. So when that frost comes out of the ground, we can hit it hard and hit it running and get your projects done. Holy, can't talk today, Barney.
You need to have 2 coffees. That's why we're watching double luge in the morning. Okay, the other thing too I was thinking about, because I know some guys that they're doing an addition on a cabin right now, and they want to have it ready for the, obviously the spring and the summer and all that. But you guys travel. If anybody's thinking or needing some work done on a cabin or maybe a Quonset or whatever, give you guys a call as well.
Great point. Yes, for sure. I mean, I grew up in the Lumsden area, so spent most of my summers at Regina Beach and up and down that lake. So there's lots of cabins and you're right. This is the time. Why renovate while you want to be in there and enjoying that cabin? Get out there, get it done now. Give us a call. We can get you a quote, assess what you want to do, and then have you for May long weekend, the greatest weekend of spring and summer. You'll be ready to roll.
Awesome stuff. All right. I don't know. Are you going to be around the Lumsden barn Friday night for the big senior A tilt, Lumsden and Davidson?
Unfortunately, actually, I'm going to be at the Past game. I'm going to take in a Past game there on Friday. But yeah, you cheer hard for me. I think I was telling you earlier, my dad's name's on the wall in that barn.
Yeah, no, that should be a good one. It should be packed. We got the senior hockey report coming up in hour 3. All right, Crofty, how does everyone find you?
Give us a call, 306-586-1333, or on our website, www.croftelectric.com. There's a book, an estimate, or a service call online link right on the front of that page. Those are the 2 best ways to get a hold of us. And of course, to keep up with all our fun deals and specials and Friday funnies, follow us on the socials.
All right. Thank you very much. There's Croft Electric. You need anything done electrical-wise, Croft Electric. Colson, can we go straight into the ticker here, my man, on your end? Are we going to play an intro?
It's time for the Sports Ticker. The early bird spring sale is on now at Extreme Hockey. 15 to 25% off store-wide. 1425 McIntyre Street. Online at extremehockey.net. And now open in Moose Jaw.
Yeah, I'd like to know. I'd like to know what the specials are at Extreme Hockey and Sport. Let's start with Olympics. Saskatchewan's Maya Schwinghammer in women's moguls close to a medal, finishing 5th this morning. Canada did beat Germany narrowly 7-6 in men's curling earlier today. They're 1-0. Hockey, Canada plays tomorrow morning against Czechia. But it was a bit of an upset. Slovakia 4-1 over Finland, and then the Italians gave Sweden all they could handle. Sweden did outshoot them about 86-4, but it was Italy hanging in there until the third period. Finals 5-2 for Sweden there. Again, Canada, Czechia tomorrow. Hockey today, right here on 620 CKRM pregame show starting at 6:30. Regina Pats, Saskatoon Blades. Pats up in Saskatoon needing the points big time. Other Saskatchewan team, Broncos, are in Calgary to take on the Hitmen. SJ Weyburn welcomes Yorkton, Estevans in Melfort. Prairie Junior Hockey League, Regina Capitals traveling to the Pilot Butte Storm. AAA on the women's side. Weyburn Goldwings at Regina Rebel, 7:45 on the men's. Notre Dame's in Yorkton. It is for Extreme Hockey and Sport, home of the price match guarantee, 20% off. You just heard that down there right now. Their support local. They are local. Extreme Hockey and Sport. Hour 3 coming up. Going to talk about an interesting junior hockey marketing idea from one of the Saskatchewan teams, which happened yesterday. The senior hockey report with all the provincials and league going on. We're going to talk to that. And then also more from Jeremy O'Day and Luke Mullinder from hour 1. It is the Sports Cage. We'll be right back after the news. All right, back downtown Saskatoon. Sunny day, Midtown Plaza. Looks eventful out there. Colson's in downtown Regina. Like the big voice said, it's for Regina Motor Products. All of our guests are joining us on the Western Pizza guest hotline. Western Pizza tonight. Why wouldn't you? Get a wheel or any of the Greek favorites you like. And thanks for the text messages so far on the Prairie Land Rentals text line, 936-6262. Prairie Land Rentals, 600 Albert Street. You get to deal with the owner. Western Hockey League, it's getting down to it. Pats are up here in Saskatoon tonight to take on the Blades. They need points. Pats need points to make the playoffs. Blades are jostling as well. They got 56. Everyone's chasing in the Eastern Conference. PA and Medicine Hat. The Pats can try and finagle 2 points tonight. They do have a couple games in hand. They're chasing Red Deer, and they're 3 points back. Our WHL reports this month are brought to you by the Outdoor Celebration at Affordable Trailer Sales. It's on right now until the 16th. Every new unit purchased comes with an instant cash rebate. A little more cash to buy accessories, take care of bills, whatever you want. They're a local family company, Affordable Trailer Sales. They've been for over 20 years. They're not going anywhere. They're not selling. They're there, located on the South Service Road. Stop in there if you're in the market for an RV right now. Affordable Trailer Sales, saving you money by staying on their lot this season. Let's go out on the Western Pizza guest hotline. Let's talk some WHL. Joining us, friend of the program, former employee of the Regina Pats. He's been on the show before. Now he's with the Prince Albert Raiders. Cliff Mapes, father of the head coach of the wagon that is the Weyburn Red Wings. Cliffy, love the lid. Thanks for taking some time today, buddy.
Hey, thanks, man. I didn't know I was going to be on video, so I'm glad I picked a good hat to wear.
Yeah, you dropped. We traded for one of those. I love that. It's one of my favorite hats. So one of the reasons I want to brought you on, obviously talking, Prince Albert and what's happening up there, and we've talked to Huntsy on the show. I've had Nielsen on. Things are just sizzling up there. But I catch it yesterday. You guys have a game and you offer $2 tickets. Now you're the guy, you're the marketing guy up there. Tell me how that went over last night. Have you done it before? I just think it's an unbelievable marketing initiative.
Yeah, you know what? And Mike's the genius behind a lot of these initiatives that we take on, especially in the ticketing area. And we try to drive traffic on Tuesday and Wednesday nights. Either a Wear It Wednesday, where if you wear a jersey and come with an adult, you can get in for $2. Same thing last night, with show up with an adult and you can get in for $2. And it helps drive traffic, right? Like, we want our building full. We're not having a lot of trouble doing that right now, but the stands are full of fans, and they're getting to watch good hockey at an affordable price.
You probably also, Cliff, bring in people that maybe wouldn't go to a lot of Raider games with these promos.
Yeah, it gives us a chance to build our fan base, right? You want to expand that as much as you can. We have limited seating here, but you play a lot of home games over the course of the season, and you try to get people out to as many games as they can make.
How many, just give me a ballpark, how many people would have taken advantage of the $2 ticket last night?
We have a limited number of seats to sell on top of our season ticket holders.
Yeah. So,
you're looking at a couple hundred, but there's a big difference in our building between 2,000 people and 2,400 people, right? So if we can move that needle a little bit on those nights, it helps with the energy in the building.
The buzz in PA, you've been up there now for a few years. What's it like? Just because it is such a, like all Saskatchewan communities, and maybe a little, I've lived in Saskatoon. I'm from Saskatoon, been in Regina now for 20 years. It kind of flows with, if the team's good, then everybody wants to go. Where you got the Swifts and the PAs and even the Moose Jaws and places like that, Brandon as well, where there is just, people that support it, live and die with the team. But what is it like this year with you guys being the top team in the league and obviously the Eastern Conference?
It's not just this year. Like, this year's team is special. We can fly and our skill level's high, fun hockey to watch, lots of goals. But the community, our community rallies around us. The support, outside of the Jordan Everly years in Regina, I've never really experienced anything like it. It doesn't matter where we go. If I'm heading to the Canadian Brew House here pretty quick, we'll go there and everybody's talking about it, right? And if I'm at the Lake Country Co-op doing my grocery shopping, people are stopping you, and even the tellers, they sell some of our tickets, kind of like Safeway used to do in Regina, and it's a buzz. The whole city's buzzing about it. And this Victory Plus has really added to that fan base too, the people who can't get out, watching the games online, home and away, has really built that. And it sure helped our 50-50 pots. Oh, man, they've been crazy.
What are those sitting at? I was on a 50-50 run in 2025.
Oh, wow. Last night, still, we gave away over $5,000. Like, on a weekend, It'll get up to 20. Like, it's been crazy. Yeah, it's good though. It's good for the hockey team. We're a community-owned team. Every little bit helps.
What is the absolute jammed milk crates? That old joke in the Art Hauser. How many people? How many paid patrons can that place hold these days?
I have a great story about that, because during the 2019 run, I asked Sis, I said to him, man, you've got too many people in here. You should call the fire marshal. And he goes, hold on, I'll get him. He's in Section 8. So, yeah, you know what? I would guess the number's probably somewhere around 3,200 to 3,400. We can fill the chests and have the game on in there. The atmosphere, it's a party. So, no, it's great.
Are you guys selling a lot of merch these days as well?
Our merch sales are crazy. One of the things that I've learned here, and Mike's really good at this, we have some alternative logos. Our Cobra Chicken logo was a massive hit. Our third jersey, the pirate, kind of paying tribute to the old pirate they used to wear here, is very popular. and we sell a lot of merch, more than I have ever been part of a team selling. We have people that own 3, 4, 5 pieces of merch, hoodies that have different logos on them, different looks to them. And we sell a ton of hats. We do really well. Our store manager, Odette, does a great job. And we're very lucky to have those other logos, because I remember back in the day, you work for a team that kind of has one logo, you have one hoodie. So
Yeah.
things have evolved lots, and we have a great team of staff here that put their heads together when it comes up to ideas for the store. And some of them I shake my head at and I'm like, no way that's going to work. And then of course it's the best one or the most popular one. So I try to keep my nose out of it now.
I love the client plugs. You got Brewhouse you got Lakeland Co-op and all that. I'll give you. You're not dumb. I'll give you one more. I'm holding out hope that, and maybe it's the Sports Cage up in PA. I don't know. I'm holding out hope that even if you guys make it to the Eastern Conference final, but the Western Hockey League final would be great, that I can make a trip up to the Art Hauser Center and play Cook at the same time. And that would be the trip.
Buddy, this has been my dream. I have never had the opportunity to golf on a game day. So I'm holding out, man. I want to wear shorts to the rink. I want to play. Well, here in PA, you play 11 holes in the morning and then come to work and do my stuff. But I'm with you there. We've got a beautiful golf course. People should always stop by on their way up north and play it. Although don't take all the tee times, because I need to get on. So,
Cliffy, it's always great to catch up. Thanks for doing this. I love it. The $2 tickets last night, and obviously we'll be talking about the Raiders a lot here as we go. It's nice to see a Sasky team kicking it in the Western League. All the best, my friend, and let's catch up soon. Maybe it is on the golf course.
Yeah, let's do that. That would be great, and I hope like hell it's on a game day. Okay, buddy. Good talking to you, Barney. Take care, man.
Yeah, bud. There he is, Cliff Mapes. Him and Mike Sissons, they did great stuff up there in PA and the marketing side and all that. I see a lot of PA merch in the summertime when I'm up north. So really, really good stuff. All right, let's go to break here. It's a Sports Cage. We're going to come back. We'll update you. Canada won another medal. Going to update you. Canada won another medal at the Olympics. It is a Sports Cage on the home of local sports in Saskatchewan, 620 CKRM. Canada's medal count is now sitting at 4. Another bronze on pairs ice dance. Piper Gilles and Paul Poirier picking up a bronze for Canada. We just missed it. Saskatchewan lady in the women's moguls, Maya Schwinghammer, finished 5th today. Hockey was crazy. Slovakia upsets Finland. It's an upset if you ask the bookies and the guys who set the line. Finland was 2-goal favorites, and then Italy gave Sweden all they could handle, although Sweden finished them off 5-2. Locally, Pats are in Saskatoon tonight, right here, 6:30 pregame show on CKRM. The Broncos are at the Calgary Hitmen. SJ Red Wings welcome Yorkton at 7. Estevans and Melford at 7:30. Prairie Junior Hockey League, Pilot Butte Storm playing host to the Regina Capitals. AAA U18 female Rebels host the Weyburn Gold Wings, and the Notre Dame Hounds are at the Yorkton Maulers. That is the sports ticker in hour 3 for Steelcraft Doors in Regina. Made in Western Canada for Western Canada, Regina Steelcraft Doors.
It is the Monday Nooner Boys, minus Barney here, talking a little senior hockey on the Sports Cage. We've got lots of senior hockey action. Busiest time of the year for senior hockey in the province. You've got league playoffs going on all around. And then what really is the pinnacle of senior hockey in the province is provincials and fighting to win one of the 4 banners that are handed out every year in the province in A, B, C, and D. We'll touch on some huge games provincial-wise coming up this weekend in the province, but I've got Wicked Deadly here from his forum online, and Belts is here too. Wicked, why don't we go over to you? What's going on in what would be known as one of the better leagues in the province, the Long Lake?
Yeah, so we're into the semifinals now as Drake will play Foam Lake, and that series starts Tuesday, February 11th in Foam Lake. Game 2 undecided. And then we got Wynyard playing Lanigan. Wynyard was first place in Long Lake, and they play in Wynyard Friday, and then they go back to Lanigan Sunday. So keep an eye out for more games after that. Those will be good series for sure.
Belts, what about you cover the Nautica?
Yeah, I like the Q. Down south there, fellas. They're full on into playoffs down there. Milestone's got a 2-rip lead on Radville. I think they're going to wrap that one up this week. My pick, the Gravelberg-Cornack series, which is a 2-7 series, tied at 1. I think Gravelberg might upset there. We'll have to see. Yellowgrass and Assiniboia. The Wheat Kings from Yellowgrass up on the 3rd seed. 2 games to rip, can close this thing out this weekend. And La Flèche and Avonlea, the Arrows from Avonlea, have a 1-rip lead in that series. So lots of games to come this weekend and into next week here in the Nautica.
Yeah, and I guess the Qu'Appelle Valley Highway Hockey League, which is one of the premier leagues down here by the city of Regina, they're in playoff action, and lots going on here kind of throughout the week. I know that this weekend there's a game in Bethune. They're going to have game 2 against the Raymore Rockets. You've got some weekend action in Grenfell. They've got a Friday night home game in their best of 3 against Balgony. And yeah, that's kind of what's going on. We'll find out who's going to be playing Lumsden and who's going to be in the other semifinal in the Qu'Appelle Valley Highway Hockey League. Big Six is a big deal in the southeast, the working man's area of the province, the oil field. They've got playoffs going on, fellas, but I think the talk of the province is all around provincial playoff action. And a couple big ones Friday night I want to highlight. Provincial A, Lumsden Monarchs just lost their first game of the year in Davidson last weekend against the Cyclones. 2 very good hockey teams, I think would be a way to describe that.
And this thing's in Lumsden, right, Boz? So quick little jaunt from the city. Go out there. It's cheap to get into, cheap to get there, and amazing hockey.
And probably a couple grand in the 50-50. I was in Davidson last weekend. Winner took home $2,200. Davidson took the game, but I walked in, warm-ups were going on. You're watching these guys snap it around in warm-ups. It looks like a professional warm-up. You know, it's not like your beer league stretching over the boards and a quick stretch and go. Like, just watching the warm-ups, you're like, okay, this is elite hockey in the province. This is really high caliber. So Lumsden's looking to hang on in game 2 of that A division series. A, the division with no limit to import, so it would be the highest caliber for sure. Other game that's worth mentioning, fellas, the Round Lake Bears from Ochapowace First Nation. They are home Friday night to the Moosomin Rangers. Ochap, Round Lake wins game 1 3-2. Tight one last weekend. Game 2 back in Moosomin, Super Bowl Sunday, competing with one of the most boring football games ever. Moosomin wins, I think it was 6-2 back at home. So not only do they win, a bit of a statement game, I would say. Wicked, what are you hearing on this series? What's kind of the talk? I know you got the hockey forum there. What are the people saying about this series? What are your thoughts?
Well, a lot of people are taking Moosomin in game 3 because the word on the street is Round Lake is having trouble getting guys to come out Friday. So I guess we'll just have to wait and see what happens there.
Do you imagine? No offense to Moosomin, I think they got a great team, but you know, all the hype and all the buildup around Round Lake all the time, and you know, the sticks and gas you hear about, it's going to be super interesting to see how that game. I gotta say, there's a lot of pressure on Round Lake.
Oh, definitely.
You know, Round Lake is maybe a heavier team. Things can get a little physical. Moosomin, from what I've watched and what I've seen, built 100% on speed, quick. That's the kind of game they play. They got some really good young weapons. They've got Bud Holloway, a really good tandem in net. Moosomin's a very good team, and that's going to be there's going to be thousands of people watching that game Friday night, one way or another, although the streaming in that rink is subpar at best. But people will find a way to watch that. I saw a guy on social media was in Mexico during a Super Bowl party, and he was on his phone watching the Round Lake Moosomin game last Sunday. So
amazing.
You can't take it away from the Sasky people, that's for sure. But yeah, that's one of 30 provincial games this weekend, 25. So wherever you are in this great province, there's probably something happening pretty close to home. So check it out. Support one of the 14 leagues or 4 provincial brackets happening this weekend. Anything else, fellas?
That's it.
That's it. Yep.
That's all from the Nooner boys here on the Sports Cage. That's your weekly senior hockey report.
All right, thanks to the Monday Nooner guys. Again, anything you need senior hockey, the Monday Nooner podcast, anywhere you listen to podcasts, you can follow on all the socials as well. Check out the new top 10 from this week. It's brought to you by Croft Electric. Anything you need in and around Regina and area, electrical-wise, or a generator, Croft Electric can help you out. And Warren Steinley, MP for Regina Louvain, always on Saskatchewan's side. We're on the home of local sports here in Saskatchewan, 620 CKRM. Coming up after the break, Luke Mullinder, again from hour 1. It's a Sports Cage. We'll be right back.